DrBoyceTV.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm here to have a really interesting conversation. It's more of a financial lovemaking conversation. You guys know I wrote a book called Financial Lovemaking back in 2006. Anyway, this involves Halle Berry. Halle Berry and her interesting, crazy experience with relationships and child support and all kinds of just weirdness. And there is so much to dissect, so much to unpack, and lessons that I think we can learn from this. And so to dig into this, I brought in my great friend, Miss Tierra KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. How you doing today, T?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to
Good.
see you. And Tierra, you are in Hollywood. You've been in these LA streets for a minute, but you're not street, but you've been in these streets.
I've
You
been in
know,
these streets. I've been in
right?
these streets. I've been working and producing and living and seeing what's going on the ground.
Yeah, like classy chick, but she still be outside with it. See,
You
I
feel
know.
me? You feel me?
I know
That's
the
what.
slang. I be paying attention. I be paying
Okay.
attention. Anyway, everybody, do me a favor. Give me a quick yes, and let me know you can hear us. Okay, let us know if you can hear us all right. And also, don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. If you go to Spotify and look up Boyce Watkins, you'll find my podcast there. I put up content every single day, so I hope you'll go follow on Spotify because we ain't got no big Spotify deal and big corporate sponsors and stuff. We're just doing this as independent Black people. We getting it done though. We're making it happen. We're reaching millions of you every week. So God bless you and thank you all for hanging out. And what's up, Dr. Vibe and Justin and Leather and Luxury Cars and Freddie Cooks? Good to see you. All right, so let's start at the beginning. Okay.
Okay.
So Halle Berry, here's what got my attention. Here's what got you and I talking about Halle. I will start with the most recent, most interesting story. This isn't even most recent. This is just most interesting. This is the one that was most recent for us.
Yeah.
Is this story about her ex calling her the N word and her basically saying that it's hard to pay child support to a man who calls me the N word, and she was referencing her was it her first baby daddy
Yeah.
not Martinez, the other guy, right?
No. Audrey. Gabrielle Aubrey is his name.
Okay, Gabrielle Aubrey. Right. Okay. So Essence Magazine writes this article where and this is an old one, by the way. This is an old one, and then I'm going to actually give you a full update on Halle Berry's whole breakdown. And they literally said here, they said Halle's ex supposedly used the N word. This is Essence Magazine. They said since Halle announced that she was pulling out of a film production to focus on a custody battle with her ex Gabrielle Aubrey over their daughter Nala. News about the couple's relationship continues to surface. According to TMZ, a source close to Berry says Aubrey was verbally abusive and to the actress, even calling her the N-word. Here's what you had to say. Or here's what you had to say. Okay, so these are comments from people that are in there in Essence's chat. Let's see here. Let me keep reading here. Now Aubrey's ex-girlfriend has stepped up to say that the model was very disrespectful to women during the 2 years that they dated, and that he has always been a borderline racist. Oh, hold on. My phone is talking to me. Let me turn this off. So what? Let's start right there. So that headline, what goes through your mind first, Tierra? Now you know people that know Halle. You and I have never met Halle, but you just being in LA, everybody knows everybody. Give me your initial thoughts when you first see that.
I think it's unfortunate. As far as people getting caught up in really bad relationships and just dating the wrong people, looking for validation, looking for the one, right? I think we're all looking for love. Unfortunately, some of us, our red flag meters are broken, and so we just run towards the same kind of people, or when we have traumas and deficiencies, we just end up in toxic situations.
Okay. So toxic situation. All right. Yeah, and this situation got pretty toxic. I think that somebody got beat up. So I think that there was a whole situation where Halle's new fiance, who eventually became her husband, beat the crap out of the old boyfriend, whatever it was, the baby daddy, and it
Yeah.
kind of became a thing. I think he gave him a big old black eye or something like that. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. I think it's awful. There's definitely something like some anger. Something is wrong with Gabrielle Aubrey for sure. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I don't even know what's going on there. Like it's so toxic.
Yeah. So okay, so Halle mentions that and she says he calls me the N word. yada yada yada. And then I think she ends up paying a ton of child support to him. I saw 16,000 a month, but
Oh,
then I saw where on her other child it was something like 8,000 a month, and I don't know if that adds up to 24 a month
yeah.
for her, or if there's like sort of a lump sum kind of thing going on. And I know that Hallie has been very irritated by all the child support stuff and everything else. And so, if you kind of want to get sort of an overview of Hallie's very interesting personal life, I mean, she's really lived. You know, she's in her 50s. I guess she's lived. She's going to be
Really
the
live.
subject of a great biopic one day. Here's a little bit of her background. She married Dave Justice in 1993, the baseball player. Do y'all remember Dave Justice? And they got
Mhm,
divorced in 97. She married
mhm,
Eric Benet in 2001, got divorced in 2005.
mhm.
Married Olivier Martinez in 2013 and got
Mhm.
divorced in 2016. So about 3 to 4 years is about the amount of time that you get to be married to Halle Berry. And then Gabrielle Aubrey was her partner, not her spouse, from 2005 to 2010. In the midst of all this, she ended up having a couple of kids, a boy and a girl.
Mhm.
And she, for what I understand, is the big breadwinner. So she's the one paying a lot of the child support. Now, T, I want to ask you this question. Okay, so as I saw Halle complaining about child support and saying that the laws are antiquated and saying that it's ridiculous and irritating and unfair, um, do you think that women seem to sort of get offended by child support when it affects them, but they think it's okay when it affects us? When men, I mean, because men, we just kind of know that child support just comes with the territory. You know, I'm an 18-year veteran of the child support system. I made all my payments, every single one of them, and I always tell people that the three happiest days of my life were the day my daughter was born, the day I finished my PhD, and the day that my lawyer sent me the email saying you made your last child support payment. Those are the three most important days of my life, the biggest days ever, because it is such a burden. It's such a pain in the ass. It feels like taxation without representation because you don't get to decide what happens to that money. And you
Right.
don't even get really a thank you in some cases. So child support is just an unbearable, it's a horrible financial trap to put yourself into. However, it's necessary to support your kids. So I'm not saying that I didn't pay it. I paid it willingly, but it was a little bit tough, right? Because you send a big check, and then a couple days later, your daughter calls and says, "Dad, I need $400 for the field trip." And you're
Yeah.
like, "I just sent you all the money I had.
Yeah.
Go ask your mama," right? But
Yeah.
then you're creating that conflict because you don't want to bring your kids in the middle of it. So what do you think? I mean, I think that women are just kind of not used to. Y'all been asking for all this equality and stuff. Y'all want that
We don't want
equality.
that much.
So we giving you that equality.
No,
What's wrong with that?
no, we don't want that kind of equality. Here's the thing. Like you said, it's a slippery slope, right? Because within Hollywood, it's like if you have a lot of money, that works against you. Halle Berry is obviously earning money and has endorsements and millions of dollars, and is doing her thing. Unfortunately, her and women like I also think of alimony. I also think of alimony because I think she has to pay alimony too. Anyway, but I think of those things, and it just doesn't work out for the wealthy. Like if you got money, if this was me, if Gabrielle needed money from me, that he would be waiting. You know what I mean? Like we would, So it's hard because it's excessive. $16,000 to raise one child in Los Angeles. That you're not paying for just for that child. You're paying for a lifestyle. You're sustaining a lifestyle. This person can now just live off you for as long as if for 18 years, if need be, for as long as you have to pay child support, they're living off you. And that is hard to take. That's hard to bite, you know?
Well, if anybody wants to know the specifics of Hallie's last marriage, the judge, from what People Magazine says, the judge ruled that she would pay 8,000 a month plus 4.3% of any income she makes above $2 million.
Oh Lord. See?
So, so she's got a whole nother tax bill coming. And I'm not done. I'm sorry. I thought I was done. There's more. She also will pay her son's private school tuition, extracurricular activities, health related expenses, etc. So you're talking about probably another 2, 3, 4, 5,000 a month off that,
Yeah.
just because the other parent can just say, hey, toothbrushes are expensive, so need an extra grand,
Yeah.
whatever, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just, so I kind of again, though, I don't have a fundamental theoretical issue with child support. I just think that it can be tough where you have people, typically fathers, that get judged based on our ability to pay.
Yeah.
And sometimes you really are doing the best you can. I've rarely seen a mother have her children taken away or go to jail because she was too poor. Right?
Mhm.
If your mama's poor, y'all just figure it out. You hustle, you stay together, you work through it. But I've seen fathers who could not earn the bread who were sent to jail, and these were not men that wanted to be away from their kids. And then also on top of that, it was really fascinating to me in the child support system how few extra rights I actually had. I remember making the argument when I went to court. I said, well, since we're talking about child support, what are we going to do about visitation? Since I'm paying and doing what I'm
Yeah.
supposed to do, can
Yeah.
y'all set up my visitation? They were like, no, that's a whole nother court. That's a whole nother thing. They just like they didn't care. They were like, no, we're just here to get your money and that's it.
Yeah.
And that was I would say that was almost financially traumatic. Not because I minded paying for my daughter. In fact, I'm crazy enough. I've been paying for other people's kids for years.
Yeah.
I love all the kids that are in my life, but it's easier when you're paying and you get some say in where the money's going to go,
Yeah.
and also there's some sort of flexibility in case you having a bad month or a bad 6 months. You can say, hey, you know what? I ain't got it all right now, but I'm gonna get you when I can get to you.
Yeah.
Do you think that child support breaks up families? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely do. I actually don't like the structure of child support. I understand that some women need help, right? Some men need help, right? And they're dealing with someone who is unwilling to do that, who is irresponsible, who has kind of like just walked out on their responsibilities. We both said we were going to have a baby, and you decided like, I changed my mind. I'm leaving. They should have some responsibility for that child. But in instances where it's excessive and like you said, the rights are take some of the rights are taken away. I just think that there's a better way to go about child support. I don't always feel like that's the way. Like I'm not with the father of my daughter, but we co-parent really well, and I would never put him on child support. I don't care what's happening. Like it's something that we can talk through. So I think just like that whole idea of who you're picking, not saying that everybody is wrong, because I think that sometimes in relationships things do shift. People change. Like, we talk about this all the time, boys. When people like on the day they're married, they love each other so much, but on the day they're divorced, like they hate each other so much. So it's just like having certain conversations while you're like still in love with that person. Like, hey, what do we do if this happens? What we gonna do then? Yeah, it's good. All right, put that on paper. Like you saying it because like instead of waiting until it gets too hard and you hate that person to then try to like punish them, if that makes sense. It's like
Yeah.
those questions should be asked when you're still in a state of like euphoria.
Mhm. I agree. And by the way, I'm here with Tierra KJ Williams, and we're talking about Miss Halle Berry and the attention grabbing statement that she made, where said she was paying child support to a man who called her the N word. But then there's also deeper stuff that's happened since then, and I thought it would be an interesting financial lovemaking lesson. I'm talking to Tierra KJ Williams, and Tierra's website is realvirtual.net. What her company does is they can help you get your business going, give you ideas for your business, help you grow your business. They will even help you do the work. So if you'd like to do a free consultation, just go to realvirtual.net, REEL virtual.net, and tell her that Dr. Boyce sent you. And if you do business with them, they'll take $100 off the price. So if you're interested in starting a business, getting off the plantation, they can help you do it. You can get it done. You just need some help. And also, my website is boycewatkins.com. And I love to talk about financial stuff. My book is called Financial Lovemaking. You can get a copy on Amazon or drboycebooks.com. It's all about love and money and everything else. Okay, so here's my theory. I have a Halle Berry theory. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay, first off, it's interesting that she went half white, half black, right? If you look at kind of a breakdown of the men that Halle Berry has had significant relationships with, it's a reflection of her upbringing. I think her father was black, her mother was white, and so Halle Berry has experimented both major flavors of ice cream, and chocolate and vanilla. And so her first marriage was Dave Justice, and then she married Eric Benet, and then she also had these relationships with these two European guys. I can't remember their names. Was it Aubrey something? And and the other guy. Now, Olivier, right? So here's what's interesting to me, right? Dave Justice got money, so from what I understand, he didn't ask for anything. He didn't ask for any of Halle's money.
Yeah.
And then Eric Benet, same thing. Eric Benet got money, and Eric Benet specifically said, and I'm going to talk about Eric in a minute because I think Eric had an interesting thing to say about Halle that I think is worth considering. Eric Benet didn't ask for her money. The black men said, you know, we good. Go on with your life. I'm gonna go on with mine. I wish you the best. I'm glad you're gone. Right? That's kind of what literally on Twitter, Eric and Dave got together and on Twitter and were like, yo, this lady is out of her mind. They were saying this, right? So both of them were like, not only were they both aligned in terms of saying, you don't want no issues with this lady. This lady will go mess up your reputation. She'll go blast your private stuff in public. She's just not a good person. But on top of that, the black men, people think that marrying outside of your race is going to save you. It's the black men who let her go scot-free financially. And it's the white boys that are getting all her money. Ain't that something?
Ain't that something?
Ain't that write that one down? Like, you would think if you're gonna go marry white, that you would marry a rich white person like Serena or that rapper Eve or whatever. You know, aren't their boyfriends like billionaires or something or whatever, right? Yeah. But these isn't that so? So I think that's interesting, T, because I think it kind of, I don't know. I feel like that's a point. That's a win for black men. Like, you know, like you think that marrying a white guy is going to be the solution to all your problems. He's going to take you away to heaven on a white horse. And instead he shows up and tells you, I need child support because I'm a modern man and we modern men need child support too. Yes. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I had never made that connection. But I think you're right. I think in those situations, truth be told, I think black and just black people, when we're in relationships, we tend to be a little bit more forgiving. And, you know, we tend to take things that we don't necessarily deserve. And, you know, like you said, other people don't do that. They be like, I'm fighting for my rights. I want all of it. I want to, you know, I want to clean the house. So I think that's crazy. I never put that together. Go ahead. You got a theory going on. Go ahead, boys. Keep that theory. What else you got?
Okay. So in addition to that, I believe my theory is that Halle be starting stuff. Let me tell you why. Because think about this. How many of y'all got like several exes who all know each other or have either friendships or conflicts? Most people don't. Most people, you know, they separate the different exes. You don't have all your exes getting on the phone like, yeah, let me tell you what she did. You know what I mean? That does not happen. I don't know. I don't, you know, the only time that occurs might be in the case of a situation like mine. I married Alicia and I know her ex-husband, but we don't get together and trade nasty notes about Alicia. We talk about the kids, right? That's it. Outside of that, don't know nothing about no exes. It just doesn't happen. So here's what's interesting, right? So Dave and Eric have both actually spoken out about being misrepresented and abused. The white boys, they were just fighting. That one of them punched the other one in the face and gave him a black eye. So again, the common denominator is Miss Halle Berry, right? She's the common denominator, and I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's really going on here. So I kind of dug into this a little bit more, and I promise y'all, there's a lesson here. But y'all know me, I like to connect the dots, and so here's one thing that popped out. There was this article I found where in both cases, Dave Justice, the black ex of Halle Berry, and Eric Benet, the other black ex of Halle Berry, have both spoken out. How often? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no if y'all agree with this. I don't think it's that rare, T, that black men go public about being abused by any woman. How often do you see that, T?
Yeah, not very often. I mean, I don't see it very often. No.
Yeah, it's very right. Usually it's the women who are like, oh, I'm gonna come tell my story, and you know, and like that, or that whole series that's out right now. I don't know if you've seen it, called Who the F Did I Marry? Yeah. Where the lady's telling her story about her ex who was a pathological liar. It's usually women that tell these heroic stories about their horrible choices and how it's not their fault and it's some man's fault, right? That's it, right. That's what they do, right? But men don't usually do it. But let me tell you, so here is a couple things I found that I thought was really interesting. So here's what Eric Benet, do y'all remember, how many of y'all, give me a yes or no if you remember when Eric Benet was labeled a sex addict? You know, somehow it just the narrative became that this man's sex addiction was the reason for his divorce. Anybody remember that?
Yep.
And I feel bad because I went through the next 18 years thinking that that was the case. I
Yep.
don't even think about Eric Benet. I cannot name a single Eric Benet song. I've never seen him in concert. I do not know the man. I don't even follow him on social media. But the one thing, if you said, what do you know about Eric Benet? I would say, yeah, I think he's a sex addict.
Yep.
That's terrible for him. So let me tell you what Eric Benet did. A lot of y'all don't know this, but this is actually published in ABC. A lot of y'all didn't read this. It says here, Eric Benet, the estranged husband of Halle Berry, confirms he was unfaithful to the Oscar-winning actress on more than one occasion, but he denies he was a sex addict. He says, I am not a sex addict. He said, I'm a person who, through a series of emotional events, troubles, and challenges, made some really stupid, painful mistakes. He's a Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter. He says that his indiscretions were verbally inappropriate, or indiscretions and entailed verbally inappropriate behavior and physical contact that was extremely inappropriate and wrong in a marriage, but not intercourse. Not intercourse. Not intercourse. Not intercourse. So most people, most sex addicts, tell me if I'm wrong, T, but most sex addicts like to have intercourse?
They have sex.
Doesn't that come with the sex addiction package? I'm not sure. You got to help me. I'm trying to.
See, what they meant was emotional affair addiction.
Okay, emotional. Well, he's a monster. He's absolutely a monster. I bet he gave other women compliments and stuff, and was nice to them and everything, helped them with their homework. All right, so here is let me see. Okay, so here's what else he said. He said he was 37 at the time. This is 2004. He has not spoken to the media since the couple announced they were separated in October 2003 after 3 years of marriage. He said he agreed to the interview to clarify misconceptions about him and his relationship. Quote, the snowball of misrepresentations has gathered so much momentum that I thought that for my daughter and for myself, I'd be doing much more harm by not saying anything. Not to excuse any of the poor choices that I made. Not to try to dodge any of the mistakes. So this man is taking accountability, but maybe to just add a different perspective. How interesting is that? So there's two sides to every story.
There's two sides to every story.
Shall I continue?
Yes, and understand that we live in Hollywood, the place of like smoke and mirrors and all the things they say. So what you see is not what you see. It's not really what you see. But you know, with a star like Halle Berry and failed marriages, maybe you know you have to start creating narratives that keep her looking and postured a certain way. Continue with your narrative, Boyce.
Yeah, it's a narrative
with your theory. Continue with your theory.
It's the narrative of the abusive black man and the innocent survivor of a woman who fought her way through an abusive relationship. That'll get you in your next movie role. All right, so listen to this. So this article, the date is November 2015. Okay. Halle's other ex, her other black ex, she got the black exes and the white ones. Dave Justice, he tells why he's finally speaking out about the A-list actress who tried to ruin his life and did the same to Eric, Gabrielle, and Olivier. Dave Justice, 49, broke his silence on Twitter, saying Barry's team tried to destroy his character after he decided to leave the relationship. Quote, only the guys in the relationship with Halle know the real deal. There will be another, of course. He'll be called the best until it ends, Justice tweeted. In an exclusive interview with Daily Mail, he explains why he felt compelled to speak up. Hours after Justice vented, second husband Eric Benet tweeted his support. My man Dave Justice is tweeting some truth this morning. That's what he go this morning. Yes. Like he in church, like, yes, Lord, yes, Jesus. So, preach, brother. All right, former baseball player Justice married the A-list actress on January 1st, 1993, but the two divorced in 1997. During his Twitter rant, Justice insinuates that Berry is the problem behind all of her 3 failed marriages and several relationships. Berry and third husband Olivier Martinez announced that they were divorcing last week after 2 years of marriage. They share a 2-year-old son. Ain't that interesting?
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Go ahead. I'm listening.
I mean, if you believe in women's equality, isn't it possible that the woman is the bastard? Why is it always the man? Why do we act like men are always the problem? Or those crazy slogans during the Me Too movement, like "Believe all women"?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah, especially if a woman.
Go on, please. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Especially when a woman has had some trauma and I'm gonna keep coming back to this because I think trauma is a big thing, but especially when women have dealt with trauma, I think like having sometimes I don't know. I don't know if this is Halle's story, but even growing up, had with with a white mother and a black father, and just like that whole dynamic, not being black enough for black people, not being white enough for white people. Just like I know that there's a lot of like issues with all of that. And so to grow up and then also be in Hollywood and be looked at as a certain way, for a little while, I was represented by the same manager of Halle Berry. So I got Halle and Taraji, what like they had the same. And so I was working with their management. So he used to talk about Halle a lot and talk about how he put her career together. And it's it's all an engine, right? They put a lot of money into people. And so those things they got a team, they got PR, like they're constantly like, just trying to keep her this starlet. And so I'm just saying that to say like, there's a lot of celebrities that have issues. There's some celebrities that use drugs and be using meth and doing issues, right? So artists in general just have issues because we're here and, like there's broken people that are, trying to act. Yeah, there's a lot of broken people here. So I wouldn't be surprised is my point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So, by the way, everybody, I am talking with Tierra KJ Williams, and you're on drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And we're talking about child support. We're talking about interracial dating. We're talking about Halle Berry and narratives of men and women, as well as the financial implications of our relationships. If you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget this podcast is on Apple and Spotify. So if you have Apple and Spotify, feel free to go look us up. Look up Boyce Watkins. Just search for my name, and you can find the podcast there. And you can hit the follow button, and then that way you'll hear me every single morning on your phone while you're at the gym. I go to the gym every morning at 4:30 a.m. Actually, we get there at 5:15. And so so I encourage everybody to join me at the gym, and I'll be right there waiting for you on your app. So if you are down with the cause and you want to do that, then feel free to do that. Also, Tierra, her website is realvirtual.net. Realvirtual.net will help you with your business. Does anybody have a business? I don't know if anybody wants to have a side hustle, a side business, just extra ways to make extra money. Well, in the Black Business School, we're all about that. So we partner with Real Virtual, where they will help you with their business. They will give you team members that can help you. They will help you come up with ideas. They will help you figure out the structure, strategy, anything you need. So get you a team, get you a squad. That's how you can get it done. It won't cost a whole lot, and it'll be a great investment. That was my first investment, Tierra, actually, was when I started my business. First thing I did was I got a virtual assistant, and that was really massive. You remember, you remember it was. Yeah, it was really great. And she had it for a very long time. And that was the thing that helped because I didn't have to do all the work myself. A lot of us feel like we got to do it all ourselves, and you can't. It's very difficult. And so having an extra brain to kind of help bounce things off of and come up with ideas and get things done, that was a really big deal. So Real Virtual can help. They will do a free consultation. It won't cost you a nickel. Just go to Real Virtual, REEL virtual.net. So the URL is right there in the chat. And also, if you guys want to join us for Powernomics training every Wednesday night in the Black Business School, just text the word greatness to 87948. Text greatness to 87948, and I'll send you a link where you can join us for that free class from the Black Business School. All right, so I'm going to finish my Halle Berry theory. You ready? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, so this part has to do with Halle Berry's upbringing, okay, and her personal life. All right, so let me read her upbringing, and I'm going to tell you about her parents. So did you know Halle Berry's original name is not Halle Berry? How many of y'all know that? How many of y'all know that Halle Berry's real name is not Halle? Can anybody name Halle Berry's actual name? Anybody?
Without going to the internet.
Don't be going to the internet. Don't be using that. Don't be using that chat GTT. Don't be using that chat GPP. Whatever that is, that artificial intelligence. You can't be using that. Anyway, okay. So here is Halle Berry's real name was Maria Halle Berry. She was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1966. So that makes her almost 58 now, or she'll be 58 this year. She's 57. Her mother was Judith Ann, who was an English immigrant from Liverpool. She was from Liverpool, mate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. Cool, right? And her daddy was Jerome Jesse Berry. That's a Black name. Yeah. Jerome Jesse Berry. You must be Jerome Jesse Berry. Jerome Jesse, an African-American man. That's all they said. He has no his apparently that's all he is. It says her name was her name was legally changed to Halle Maria Berry at the age of 5. Her parents selected her name from the Halle's department store, which was then a local landmark in Cleveland. Berry's mother worked as a psychiatric nurse, and her father worked in the same hospital as an attendant in the psych ward. So, isn't it funny that Halle Berry's parents started off in the psych ward, and she is known as being a psycho? How about that for ironic? What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not saying she's a psycho. I'm saying her husband is saying she's a psycho. But I just think it's I just can't help but notice the irony. So her parents. So here's the trauma you were talking about. So here's Halle Berry's trauma. So we're gonna crack the Halle Berry code by the time we do it. I promise we're gonna crack the code.
Okay.
Her parents divorced when Berry was 4 years old, and she and her older sister Heidi Berry Henderson were raised exclusively by their mother. She's been estranged from her father since childhood, noting in 1992 that she did not even know if he was alive. Her father was abusive to her mother, that according to Berry, and Berry recalled witnessing her mother being beaten daily, kicked downstairs, and hit in the head with a wine bottle. So there's your trauma.
There's your trauma. There it is. Bam.
I hate my daddy because my daddy beat the hell out of my mama and then he left. And I have not seen him since then. So therefore, I'm going through my life and all I'm doing is I'm repeating the toxicity of my relationship with my daddy. But now my daddy, he just changes his name. At first, he's the guy who smacked her so hard that she went deaf in her ear. And she wouldn't say the name, but actually Christopher Williams, her boyfriend, claims it was Wesley Snipes. And I don't know if it was Wesley Snipes. I don't want to put this on Wesley Snipes. I heard he's a big fan of Powernomics. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about him all the time, by the way. But I would hate to get smacked in the ear by Wesley Snipes. That would probably make you deaf. Because remember, he's doing those karate movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And New Jack City. So
right. Nino Brown. Who wants to get smacked by Nino Brown?
No.
I would not want to get smacked by Nino Brown. Yeah. So again, I don't know if that's the case or not, but Christopher Williams, one of her ex-boyfriends, that's what he says, right? So then you're having all these marriages that are all falling apart. And I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't know why everyone thinks this is such a complex idea and no one talks about this, but I really believe that it's hard to imagine a woman who hates her father and has no respect for him having healthy relationships with men, right? Yeah. That's what I believe. And people think it's weird for me to say that. No, that's not true, because so many women might take that personally, because 76% of Black women don't have their father in the house. But if I said that about a man, you would get it. If I said, oh yeah, well, the reason he be beating women is because when he was 4, his mama took him to the grocery store and left him in the fast food aisle, or you know what I mean, in the frozen aisle, and never came back. Like, really? Or you know what I mean? Like DMX's mama. This is so sad. His mother said, we're gonna go visit the orphanage and visit the kids in the orphanage, and his mama left him at the orphanage.
He sure did.
Who can be normal after that?
Yeah.
You know, and what I think is very sad is that we have a community that kind of looks down on therapy. And then, or maybe if you get it, I don't know if it gets internalized, because I wouldn't be surprised if Halle got some therapy, right? You know, she's rich, she can afford it. You know, but I think that what people have to understand is that you got to heal from that stuff. You carry that baggage, because what happens is traumatized people, they traumatize other people.
Right.
Like trauma is a contagious disease.
Yeah.
You know, and a really great movie that actually expressed this idea very, very creatively was the movie Smile. Have you ever seen the movie Smile?
I have not.
Oh, the movie Smile is great. It's a movie where they I'm gonna see if I'm gonna pull up an image of it so you can see it's really a scary little image. But anyway, so the movie Smile was basically about this therapist who had this client that comes into her office. And her client is like scared to death. She's like scared, and she doesn't know why she's scared. She's just scared of something that's not there. And then, and while she's trying to calm her client down, she walks out for a minute to take a call, and she comes back in the room, and the client's just sitting there smiling, like with this really creepy smile. And right in front of her, she just smiles, and she like cuts her throat like wide open right in front of her with this big smile on her face. Yeah. And this is the thing that she finds that there's a pattern. What they do in these psychological thrillers is that, and you probably know this because you know filmmaking really well. You've written these great scripts and everything, but it seems like one of those formulas is like to find somebody who's really rational, who's like a mental health professional who's going through some shit that might be supernatural, and they're trying to figure out if they're going crazy or not. So this movie Smile was this therapist exploring this story that she was hearing, that people would that after people witnessed, there's the image of it, right? It's creepy, right? That's scary, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that is creepy.
Yeah. So what would happen is that after you witness somebody smiling and cutting their throat in front of you, you would have 5 days, and after the 5th day, you would be next. For whatever reason, this perfectly normal person who witnessed the trauma of seeing somebody smile and cut their throat open, they literally did the exact same thing 5 days later. And
Wow.
so my wife, being a therapist, we cracked that code. We were watching the movie. I said, "Oh, this is all about trauma and how trauma is contagious." That's what this is all about. Because the whole week, the therapist, because she saw her client cut her throat, she's fighting the whole week to figure out what's going on. And the whole week, all these crazy things are happening. All these memories from her childhood are coming back that are scaring her. These big monsters from when she was a little girl, and she's trying to like solve it before day 5 hits, where she's going to be the one who smiles and cuts her throat. So you get to go in the mind. It's a great movie. I highly recommend it to anybody if you can sit through a horror movie, but just understand what the movie's really all about. I think Smile really reflects what trauma really does. Traumatized people tend to traumatize other people. That's why it's very important that if you are a person who's healed, it's almost like if you take a shower and you just clean the mud off your body, so you've healed, so you clean that trauma off your body. Don't hang out with other muddy people like that. Don't get in a relationship with somebody else who's covered with mud, because you're gonna get muddy too. And that's what happens. People that heal, or people that were never traumatized, they get traumatized by people who were traumatized. So then you're traumatized, and now you're spreading that virus to other people.
Hurt people. And then you also have to add, Boyce, the layer of, and let's just go back to Halle for a second. You have to add the layer of, this is one of the most considered one of the most beautiful women in the world. So on top, you add that component to this whole situation where she might be attracting insecure men who would want to hit on her. Who would want to abuse her to kind of like suppress whatever esteem that she has, or just whoever she's attracting is already probably going to have a level of, if she's not healed, is going to have some level of brokenness. So like putting that all together, coupled with being successful in Hollywood, one of the most beautiful people in the world, insecure men, she's insecure. It's a recipe for disaster, really.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I think Halle, unfortunately, because she is a pretty lady, a lot of men can end up being tricked by that. Just like women, just like we get tricked by the things that are attractive to us, things that look good on the outside. We assume that they're good on the inside. And that's not the case. Actually, I have more to my Halle Berry theory, but before I begin the rest, finish off I have one more thing I want to read, because I've been cracking the code, y'all. I've been digging to understand it, because I think it's a great lesson in terms of understanding how things like love and money link together. I'm fascinated with this stuff ever since I wrote that book, Financial Lovemaking. I've really been fascinated with how good love choices can either make us wealthier, or they can ruin us financially. And my wife being a relationship therapist, I've learned a lot about relationship therapy because I learned from my wife. And so, by the way, so if anybody wants to get stuff from my wife, Dr. Halle Watkins, on relationships and relationship therapy and help with that, just text the word love to 87948. If you text love to 87948, she can help you. And my book, Financial Lovemaking, is at drboycebooks.com. And also my wife's book, she's done workbooks on everything from healthy communication and relationships to what else? Financial trauma, all kinds of stuff. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com and take a look up the word Alicia, and you'll find her stuff. And also you can text the word love to 87948. She'll send you some things. Okay, so Tiara, I'm going to finish up the last part of my Halle Berry theory. All right, so you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so let me read this part to you, and I'm gonna tell you what my spidey senses were picking up here when I read this part. All right, so there's a part where they talk about her personal life. Now, y'all ready? Grab your popcorn, because Halle Berry has had a really interesting personal life. This is great. All right, so it says here that Berry dated dentist John Ronan from March 1989 to October 1991. In November of 93, so let's just imagine. So Halle was born in 66. So in 89, she's 23 years old. So let's just put that in context. So in 23, she dated this guy, John Ronan. In November 93, Ronan sued Berry for $80,000 in what he claimed were unpaid loans to launch her career. So think about this. Here's what I'm picking up here. So she's 23 years old. Most 23-year-olds ain't got no money, especially 23-year-old actresses. I
Yeah.
bet you John Ronan was an older man because he's a dentist. You don't have a lot of 23-year-old dentists. So she's
Mhm.
probably dating a guy, maybe 30, maybe 32, 33 or above. And she's looking for a sugar daddy or somebody that can help to pay some bills, which
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, right? Like when I wrote that financial lovemaking book, I became clearly convinced that women are naturally attracted to men that can help them get resources. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you a gold digger or bad. It just unfortunately means, though, sometimes you might make some hard trade offs. So Halle allegedly borrows money from this man. He sues her and says that this money was a loan and you need to pay me back. And it could be a case either where he really loaned her the money, or maybe he's mad and he's trying to come back and rewrite history. I've seen that too. And
Yeah.
the case was dismissed because when Ronan declared bankruptcy in 92, he did not declare Berry as a debtor. Now that's interesting too, right? So he declared bankruptcy in 92. They dated from 89 to 91. I'm wondering if the sugar daddy's money ran out and she saw the ship sinking and said, I'm gonna jump off the Titanic before it goes to the bottom of the ocean. Let's keep going. According to Berry, a beating from a former abusive boyfriend during the filming of The Last Boy Scout in 91. Y'all remember The Last Boy Scout with Damon Wayans? That was a good movie. It punctured her eardrum and caused her to lose 80% of her hearing in her left ear. She has never named the abuser, but said that he was someone, quote, well known in Hollywood, end quote. In 2004, her former boyfriend, Christopher Williams, accused Wesley Snipes of being responsible for the incident, saying, I'm so tired of people thinking I'm the guy who did it. Wesley Snipes busted her eardrum, not me. That's what Christopher Williams says, according to what I'm reading on the screen. That to me connects to the fact that her father, she says her father used to beat her mother up and kick her down the steps and everything else. So ultimately, that was a that to me is that there's a direct connection there, right? Like a lot of times we see our opposite sex parent engaging in behavior that's clearly unacceptable, but we think it's okay because that's what daddy did, that's what mama did. Okay, all right, so let's keep going. So the way she met Dave Justice was she saw him playing in an MTV celebrity game. So Halle, apparently she goes for what she wants. So there was a reporter from Justice's hometown who told her that Justice was a fan. If you remember at that time, Dave Justice was one of the biggest baseball players in the world. Everyone knew who he was. Berry then gave the reporter her phone number to give to Dave Justice. Berry and Justice married shortly after, January 1st, 1993. So she saw him play. Pay attention now. Let's look at timelines here. Let's dissect this. So she sees him on TV for the first time in 92. She hasn't met him yet. She just saw him on TV. February of 92. They're married January 1st, 93. At this point, Halle is 30 years old. That to me speaks to impulsive decision making. I don't believe, I'm sorry, and anybody wants some game in terms of protecting your wealth and protecting the things that matter to you, don't meet somebody in February of 1 year and then marry them January the next year. I don't care how great it is. Because think about it, if they're that great and you're going to be together forever, what harm is there in waiting another year to make sure that's the right person?
That's right.
Because if you're like, well, they might be gone in a year, well, then that means they want the right person.
That's
Because
right.
the right person ain't going to be gone in a year. They're going to be around 2, 3, 4 years. If so I'm not saying wait 12 years or anything, but I think literally waiting a couple of years should be the standard. I have no idea when people, but you know what that speaks to? That speaks to that says to me, and I'd like to get your take on this. I'm picking up like, she's young, she's in Hollywood, she's becoming a star. And as you mentioned in LA, like there's the fast life, which can be riddled with all kinds of stuff involving sex and drugs and excitement. So maybe there, and then also, you can be tempted and brought and reeled in by this allure of being this power couple, right? How excited you'll be, for in terms of what this can do for your career, right? Because everybody sees how great you look together. And that I think can be intoxicating. And if you look at somebody as ambitious as Halle, I mean, she's definitely assertive. She goes for what she wants. She's a hardworking person. I don't know if people know this, but I think she won Miss something for some state. I gotta look up the state, but I know she was sixth in, was she Miss USA or runner-up Miss USA and like sixth in the Miss World contest or something?
Yeah.
Right. So that says to me that she's a very hard worker. And it tells me that she's very ambitious. And the downside of being that hard worker and being very ambitious is that sometimes your personal life tends to suffer because you're kind of wanting these relationships that fit into this bigger, more meaningful objective, which is very career oriented. What do you think about what I said?
Well, I also think that being an actress on her way up is acting is not a consistent gig. No matter, I don't know if y'all seen not too long ago, Gabrielle Union still says she gets anxiety, financial anxiety, because it's about working consistently. Sometimes you may do a movie 1 year and not do a movie until a year or two later. Like the gaps are real. So something also to consider is that he is a baseball player. He is making money, and she is pretty. And like sometimes you want a successful man who can take care of you. So then you can go off and be an actress and just focus on becoming an actress. So I just wanted to add that to the equation. Yes, all of the things that you said, but also just needing support in a real way.
Okay, interesting. I like that a lot. And so one thing about Halle, in case we want to know about that whole Miss USA, Miss World thing, she was actually Miss Ohio. She was Teen Miss USA, and then she was runner up. She was Teen Miss USA, and then she was a runner-up Miss USA and got 6th in the Miss World contest. So you're talking about somebody who had a lot of success because she's very ambitious, and I think that should really be applauded. And what can happen, I think, sometimes is that that golden goose of the career and the money and the fame can really, really cause a lot of problems in your personal relationships. And I'm guessing that this is what happened with her, because relationships take energy. They take time.
Yeah. And then also she's pretty, right? I just wanted to keep, I'm just saying, like, being pretty also comes with privilege. That's a thing, right? The pretty privilege, where you can literally be like, I've seen him on TV. Let me give somebody his number, and let me give somebody to give him my number that he don't even know me. Let me give, and then they gave it, and then he comes to her, right? So I think just having that level of privilege, and I'm sure she's had that pretty much all her life, can make it really interesting on the ego for Halle, right? So like being difficult or just being demanding or just being used to getting what you get and getting what you want because you're pretty, could cause some other issues.
That's a great point. That's an excellent point. Yeah. If everybody could hit the thumbs up button before we move forward, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you have not done that yet. Okay, so here is more on her personal life. This is really interesting. So she got with Dave Justice. They separated in '96. Berry publicly stated that she was so depressed that she had considered taking her own life, which of course is always the man's fault. They were divorced June 20th, 1997. That was my 26th birthday. In May 2000, Berry pleaded no contest to a charge of leaving the scene of a car accident. She was sentenced to 3 years probation, fined $13,500 in order to perform 200 hours of community service. That's interesting, right? Because it makes me wonder, why did you leave the accident? What did you not want them to find on you? Because usually when people leave the scene of an accident, there's a reason. There's something, right?
They've been drinking or smoking crack.
Yeah, right. Okay. And again, not assuming this is the case, but it makes you wonder, like, why did you leave? What was going on? So here's more. Let's keep reading. She married her second husband, songwriter Eric Benet, January 24, 2001, following a 2-year courtship. So she did it the right way that time. Now, by 2001, we're going through the life of Halle Berry here. She's 35 years old now. When she gets with Eric Benet, she still looks great. She looks great to this day. She underwent, so it says Benet underwent treatment for sex addiction in 2002. But he's saying he's not a sex addict. That's interesting. By October 2003, they had separated and their divorce was finalized in 2005. In November 2005, Berry, so this is right after Benet, she began dating French-Canadian model Gabrielle Aubry, whom she had met at a Versace photo shoot. Berry gave birth to their daughter in March of 2008. On April 30th, 2010, Berry and Aubry announced that their relationship had ended some months earlier. In January 2011, Berry and Aubry became involved in a highly publicized custody battle, centered primarily on Berry's desire to move with their daughter from LA, where Berry and Aubry resided. She wanted to move to France, the home of French actor Olivier Martinez. So she met a new dude and wanted to move out of LA to France to go live with the new guy. And she had started dating him in 2010, having met him while filming Dark Tide in South Africa. Aubry objected to the move on the ground that it would interfere with their joint custody arrangement. Yeah. In November 2012, a judge denied Berry's request to move the couple's daughter to France. Less than 2 weeks later, November 22nd, 2012, Aubry and Martinez were both treated at a hospital for injuries after engaging in a physical altercation at Berry's residence. So the two dudes were fighting at Halle's house. Martinez performed a citizen's arrest on Aubry, and because it was considered a domestic violence incident, he was granted a temporary emergency protective order preventing Aubry from coming within 100 yards of Berry. Martinez and the child, with whom he shares custody with Berry until November 29, 2012. In turn, Aubrey obtained a temporary restraining order against Martinez on November 26, 2012, asserting that the fight had begun when Martinez, who's the new guy, had threatened to kill Aubrey if he did not allow the couple to move to France. So he said, if you don't let them move to France, I'm going to kill your ass, according to Aubrey. Leaked court documents included photos showing significant injuries to Aubrey's face, which were widely displayed in the media. On November 29, 2012, Berry's lawyer announced that Berry and Aubrey had reached an amicable custody agreement in court. In June 2014, a Superior Court ruling called for Berry to pay Aubrey's the old baby daddy, $16,000 a month in child support, as well as a retroactive payment of $115,000 and another $300,000 for Aubrey's attorney's fees. That'll make you want to beat somebody up. So Berry and Martinez confirmed their engagement on March 2012, married in France July of 2013. October 2013, Berry gave birth to their son. In 2015, they announced they were divorcing. The divorce was finalized in 2016. So that's interesting, right? So it's like they went through this whirlwind romance, right? We're engaged 2012, get married in 2013, have a baby right after that. 2 years later, we're done. I don't know. It's almost like people going through the motions. Like, it's almost like for so many people, getting married means absolutely nothing. It's like, oh, you say you're getting married, but really you just got a new boyfriend.
Right.
What do you think?
Right. I mean, I noticed a pattern, obviously, with her. She got a pattern. She meets you. We married within the year. We're together for 2 or 3 years, and then it's done. Right. So that's the pattern that I know that is Halle's. But my only real concern is just like, I wonder how her daughter Nala feels, right? About like the idea of her being like, I want to go to France so bad that I'm willing to leave California. Not an abandonment thing, but it's like you're willing to move to a completely different country for a man that you didn't even stay with, right? It just makes me think, obviously, as a mother, I just think about those things like that. Like, how does her daughter feel like with that whole thing? But anyway, maybe that it doesn't matter, but it just seems like she was, as we all are, looking for love and trying to do whatever whatever we can to like keep it in our grasp. But obviously she's just attracting.
I want to make that clear.
It's just like the passion of it, and then once the passion is done, it's just like, this is boring. All right, I'm leaving. You leaving, right? That's what it feels like. Like, if it doesn't feel like passionate and explosive and like I want to fight over you, then it's not worth having.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm really kind of picking up like drama queen, right?
Right.
Like the drama. Sometimes the adrenaline. Like, this is one thing about traumatized people. So some of y'all out there who've had trauma, you might want to go take the ACEs test, Adverse Childhood Experiences, to see how traumatized you are. It's ACES. Go see how traumatized you are, because traumatized people, they kind of live on all these hormonal trauma responses to everything, like all that cortisol flowing through the brains and all that adrenaline. It makes you feel alive, right? And it can cause you to be attracted to the bad boys and want to date the hot crazy girl and everything else. And people like that, it's really fascinating, because what they'll try to do, and celebrities to me are just excitement. They can become excitement junkies, in my opinion, because you're doing so many interesting, exciting things. You get to meet famous people, travel around the world, make insane amounts of money, stay at the nicest hotels, and it's and I understand it, because honestly, I've had a little bit of that. I've had money for a while. I'm kind of like internet ghetto famous, like I go places. You've been, when I go to LA, some people recognize me, whatever, right? So it's kind of like, and what happens is that when people recognize you, they're really nice to you, and you get privileges, and you can go places and do stuff. And then it's like, what happens is you get spoiled. You get spoiled because you see how regular people live, and you're like, ooh, I don't want to live like that, and that's it's kind of bad. It's very bad. And so one of the things I think that people don't talk about enough and don't understand, especially when they're getting this bullshit internet relationship advice, is they don't understand that long-term relationships can be somewhat boring. Like, when you get in that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th year, you're getting stability, and stability by definition is not as exciting as volatility. Yeah. Volatility is up and down. Feast of famines. Great one day, horrible the next. You're having fun one day and you're crying the next. Right? That's what you want when you're young, but you get older, you just want to chill. You just want to know that I'm going to come home, my partner's going to be there, house ain't burnt down, you know, the kids are good, you know,
Yeah.
and children need stability.
Yeah.
So sometimes when parents carry that drama into their relationships in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, I feel really sorry for the children because yo whack ass should have grown up. You should have left all that behind at the age of 27, 28. After that, your job should be, okay, how do I create stability so these kids won't grow up as crazy as me? I don't think
Yeah.
we talk enough about that. What do you think?
Yeah. You keep saying the word drama, and just being an actress, just growing up as an actress, and like I've been literally in an acting class since I was probably like in seventh grade, right? So there is a bit of drama that comes along with us, just in personality, like, a little over the top, a little like big, a little, so you keep saying like she's a bit of a drama queen. And I'm saying, like, yeah, yes, literally, she is, right? That is part of her persona. It's part of who she is. She is Halle Berry, right? So like that's a component. When, and this is a sidebar, it made me think about Monique's son. And when he was talking about, and this is, we have to talk about this another day for sure. But Monique's son came out and was saying that his mother cared more about being Monique than being his mother. Like she had more interest in building this name for herself and being known to people as a certain thing. And she had no interest in being a mother because it was, it's like, I'm trying to build something. So I just thought that was really interesting. I mean, so when you say that, it kind of reminds me of that, and that dynamic of having a celebrity mother and your mother having to be out and hustling, and and that's her way that she gets it. It's like I understand that part of it, like when it comes to work, but when it comes to men, Hallie just got a thing. I think her ticker is off, like her red flag ticker is off, and she may be part of the red flag. I don't know. She may be a red flag. But like the idea of her just jumping up and moving to France, like you said earlier, like her her ability to make decisions and just like go off impulse is like, I want to move to France. And you become obsessed about moving to France so much that you would be willing to beat somebody up to do it. And then you move to France. And then at some point you're divorced within 2 years. So it's just, she is a drama queen. I said all of that to say, like, drama is her life.
Well, and I think that is, and I kind of understand a little bit about where that might come from. Unfortunately, I think we kind of live in a world also where people don't want to grow up and they're afraid of growing old. They don't want to grow gracefully. I saw this image on Instagram of a lady who said, she said something like, "I'm 58 years old, and you better not call me granny. Does your granny look like this?" And she showed herself in a bikini, and she looked really good in her bikini. She did. Shout out to her for maintaining that. But it was almost like you get into this impossible battle of saying, I want to be Peter Pan. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow old, because when I grow old, I'm going to be worthless. I'm not the young person with all the excitement that's constantly growing and evolving. I become the old lady on the hill. And I was looking up Google searching pictures of Halle Berry from 2024. And this is what she looks like at the age of 58. She's almost 60. She looks amazing, right? She's so pretty.
Amazing.
Shout out to Halle. That's not Halle. Sorry. I was trying to enlarge the picture, but that I showed the crazy white woman instead. But but then again, maybe Halle is the crazy white woman. But anyway, so I'm being silly. But but if you look right here, right, like I feel like a picture like this, I like the way I think she looks great, but I feel kind of bad for her because at some point you're not going to be able to compete with the 32-year-olds. At some point you're going to have to, it's almost like those actors and actresses that get typecast for a certain kind of role, or they refuse to play. Like, I will not play the grandma. I will not play. I don't want to be the old person. I gotta be young forever. So they're trying their best in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond to still compete with young people. And you're not in your lane anymore. You could be the distinguished grandfather in the movie or whatever, but you don't want that role because you want to play the young hustler like you did in 1985. You can't do that no more. Do you think that and so what I'm saying is, I wonder if that translates into just life choices and relationships, right? Like I wonder if sometimes people forget that you have kids and you have grandkids, and there's a role you have to play. You are grandma, whether you want to be or not. You are granddaddy. Like I don't like being called grandpa either. But then I'm like, well, I could be grandpa and still be in shape, but
Yeah.
because the kids need a grandpa, I'm not thinking about like what I need. Like no, I'm not grandpa. I'm one of your little friends. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to say, okay, I am grandpa. Come over to grandpa. Give me a hug, right? Right. So what do you think about that? Do you think that there's kind of like a devaluation of senior citizens or older people that causes everybody to want to stay young forever?
That's America, baby. Like absolutely. You do. You at some point you you start to think like that whole AARP, like senior citizens are forgotten every day, right? Like at some point, you get old enough and you feel like you're no longer contributing to society. That you throw them in a nursing home, and I know there's tons of people in those nursing homes that don't get visitation. Their families forget about them. The only people that they get the contact with is the people that are at the nursing homes. I mean, okay, so let's use that and use that for like just in general in our society. Unless you are Meryl Streep, outside of like that whole thing, it is an issue, especially with us. And I'm gonna say Black people in general. Like I see way too many grandmas twerking on the internet, dancing with their grandchildren and their daughters, and everybody is twerking. It's like you shouldn't want to at some point uh, try to compete with the 32-year-olds. You have too much as the grandparent to teach them. You should be wanting to teach them how to embrace age and what to do when they get older, not try to be them, right? So I do think that that's the thing. And then here in Hollywood, I've seen that way too many times. There's so many actresses that I've met that you like, hey, I used to see you in the 90s. You so amazing. And there's a part of them that is like, it cringes. Like they cringe a little to just be like, yeah, it's like, man, I see, but they still want that. I want to play I don't want to play anybody's mom. I don't want to play, they don't want to even be seen that way. Like, I don't want to play anybody's mother. I just want to be still seen as this person. And I won't get into names, but I literally had a conversation with somebody and was just like, but you're 50 though. Like, it's cool. Like you still look beautiful. Like you said, beautiful women who have kept themselves up. Hollywood is going to teach you how to eat greens and drink green juice and go to the gym and run. It's part of our culture, right? But you want to get old, like you said. So I just think that just in general, I see way too many people, and I feel bad for us, like as a culture and a society, where we feel like old people, elders are no longer relevant. I just hear a lot of that, but I feel like we should be looking towards the elders to like what to do next, because we're all walking in that direction, right? Mm-hmm. So I need my aunts who are in their 50s and 60s and 70s to tell me what to do when I get there. Show me how to do it. But if you're trying to be like me, we are all lost, right?
Right. We just a bunch of peers. We go into the club together, girl.
Oh my God. And boys, the injections in the face, and like you trying to keep wrinkles out of your body, like your face don't move, sis. Like, why don't your face move? What is that? Like, I just, it's lips and just trying to stay. And truthfully, it doesn't really make them look young. It makes them look weird, right? Yeah. It's not even a look like, oh yeah, you're preserving your youth. It's just like, can you see what I'm doing? I look young, don't I? It's like your face is not moving.
It looks so bad, and I'm hoping one day they invent something that will make that process like worth the actual money, though, so you won't end up looking like some creepy puppet out of a Muppet movie or something, just like some where your face doesn't move and all that. I think that at some point they're gonna be able to do that. I've actually seen stuff that is pretty promising actually in research in terms of like youth rejuvenation, anti-aging type stuff. Actually, I gotta look it up, but I saw where there's this guy at Harvard apparently that had this stuff that they had this like rat, right? Because they test everything on mice because mice's DNA are close to ours. And they had this rat that they said was equivalent to like a 70-year-old obese diabetic.
Okay.
and they gave this rat this stuff. I forgot what it's. I think it's called NDA or something. And
Okay.
they said that the rat became the equivalent of a 20-year-old all over again
Oh wow.
because they think that they can actually figure out what will keep people, what makes people get older. Now, obviously, you have to take it with a grain of salt because I assume that if this were commercially available or really, ready to use, it would be out there everywhere. But you never know. With AI, between AI and quantum computing, anything is possible. Y'all think AI is a big deal? Wait till y'all see when they come up with quantum computers. Literally, quantum computing is so crazy that they said that whatever country figures out quantum computing first, they're going to control the world.
Wow.
That's how deep that stuff is. Yeah. Like they would just say stuff. They'd be like, well, if you take 10 million supercomputers, the 10 million of the fastest computers that exist right now, one quantum computer can do 1,000 times more in less. I mean, it would be crazy stats like that. Look it up. Look it up, y'all. It's crazy. So my thought is like, hey, when the quantum computers get here, we'll be good. Either we're going to have this wonderful life or it's going to destroy all of humanity. Either way, we'll be at peace.
Either way. I mean, either way, we're going to die. Right. So,
There we go.
why do I need, I don't understand why I need to like walk around at 70, 80, or 90 trying to look 20. Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Boyce?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry. I don't know why I need to like be 70 trying to be 15 again. Like, I just don't understand because I'm still gonna die. Like, it's not gonna literally make me 20 again. I just recently saw a video where a guy was like, I'm gonna live until I'm 210 because here's what I'm doing. And he went through like that. He takes like 1,000,000 pills in a day. Like, it's like 70 pills, and then he's like drinking water and going to work it out. I'm like, homie, you still gonna die in like 20 years though. Like, I'm saying, I hope he does make it to 220. I hope so, because he's like, I just want to be the human sacrifice for mankind, and I want to be the one to do it. And it's like, if I have a certain amount of pills every day and this and vitamin this, we can't stay here, babes. We can't stay here. We can't live in this body forever. You got to go.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, did you hear the Alabama? How people freeze their eggs so that they can have kids later.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said in Alabama that you can't do that anymore because they said basically like those eggs are people, and so if they terminate, like if you don't use the egg and they decide to dispose of the eggs, they can be charged with murder. How heavy is? I don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I am pro-life. I'm more pro-life than I am pro-choice. But I'm actually pro-life and pro-choice. Right? I just want you to choose life. Like that's what I am. But I believe I can't make the choice for somebody else. But I do believe I have the choice when it comes to my kids. With my kids, I need to be in on the decision. But that's why I probably, if I was single, I would not have a baby with a woman who wanted to abort my child, right? I just wouldn't even give her that opportunity, right? But still, though, this seems weird, right? That these frozen embryos, ain't nothing wrong with somebody freezing their damn eggs, but they go look it up in Alabama. From what I understand, maybe I'm getting this wrong, but in Alabama, they're not doing those treatments anymore because they said that now we might get charged with murder because the state ruled that those little frozen eggs are people. Or frozen embryos. I think so. I guess the embryo will be a fertilized egg, right? Is that right?
How long can you keep those frozen?
I don't know. I mean,
how long can you? I mean, because then is that the? Do we put ourselves in the freezer? Can we live longer if we put ourselves in the freezer?
I don't know. I mean, Alicia will be freezing some steak for a long time, so maybe.
Yo, we probably just cracked the code of life.
Yeah, we did.
Live in colder weather. Let's just freeze ourselves.
There we go. There we go. Well, you know that there are like lots of people. I think there's thousands of people who got frozen when they were dying because they were assuming that like one day technology would exist. They could bring them back to life. I don't think that's a terrible idea. I really don't. I mean, like, okay, you're in hospice. You got some incurable disease. They're gonna be able to cure it at some point. Think about how many diseases were incurable 100 years ago that are they're easily curable now. But the problem is, I think jump starting you, like bringing you back to life, would probably be the part that they would have trouble with. That's the part it'll probably take them a couple thousand years to figure it out. But you never know. I'm telling you, look at how much technology has advanced just between now and say 1944. You
Wait,
know,
wait,
it's gone a long way, right? So
wait,
so if you look now, what?
wait. You're saying when they're dying, you start the freezing. So technically, they're still alive, but they're
I
being
think
frozen.
so. I think so, or maybe they have to die first. I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules of freezing yourself. But you know, I'm gonna tell you, I think those things. I don't think those things are far fetched and crazy. And because the thing is, a lot of the technology that we have now that we take for granted now, people look silly trying to do those things in like the 1950s. Like you would have people that had the first internet or the first cell phones. First cell
Yeah,
phones, you know, in the 1950s and 1960s looked ridiculous,
yeah,
right? And people were like, "This is so stupid. Who the hell's going?" Or the first computers, they were like, "Who would want this big ass thing in their house? This doesn't make any sense."
right.
Right. But the true visionaries were the people who said, no, no, one day they're going to figure out how to make it small and you'll carry it in your pocket and it'll be your phone and you can also order pizza on it and all that. And they just sounded ridiculous. They sounded insane. So I'm trying to figure out who are the people that sound crazy right now who are just seeing something that's going to be readily available for everyone by the year 2100. I mean, since we're talking about technology, I know we don't talk about everything, but but you know, like even I told you how much I love my MetaQuest, right?
I gotta get.
You got to get one.
I gotta get.
Hang out, play golf or something. But anyway, so I play golf every day on my MetaQuest, and I figured out this. The Apple Vision Pro came out. Here's what's going to happen in the next 5 years. You're going to make phone calls, and you're going to be able to sit in the living room with the person that you're talking to. You're going to be able to their hologram somehow they're going to get scanned. Or it's going to be a camera, a light on them, or something like that, and you'll have something on you so they can see you, and you'll be able to sit in the same room as it just like kind of like this, except physical in 3D space and be able to talk to each other. I have no doubt in my mind that the holographic technology is like on its way, and it's going to be through these little, Apple Vision Pro type goggles, but they're not going to be goggles anymore. They're going to actually become like glasses like this. So there we go. That's my prediction.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first.
You heard it first. You heard it first. And y'all need to be listening because y'all been listening back. Oh, another thing too. You know, Nvidia stock has gone up like crazy. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nvidia just went berserk, and Nvidia stock has gone up like 1,000% in the last like 4 or 5 years. And our son told us to buy Nvidia when it was $41 a share. So we went and bought some Nvidia, and I did not know that me and Alicia owned it. Check this out. So we bought maybe, let's say it was $6,000 worth of Nvidia stock just about 3-4 years ago. Guess how much that $6,000 in stock is worth now?
How much?
Like $58,000. What?
That's great.
How about that for a flex?
That's a flex. That's great.
Yes. So we got to invest. Get ready for the future, and
right.
The opportunities are coming. All right, I'm done talking. I appreciate you. This is so much fun, and thank you all for hanging out with us, and thank you, Tiara, for giving me your time as well. I appreciate that. Right. And by the way, if you want to follow Tiara, first thing, everybody go follow her on Instagram. She has a great Instagram page, Miss Black Hollywood. Her daughter is extremely talented too, Little Boogie. And so you can go see what she and her family are doing, which is really amazing. They are one of the most talented mother-daughter teams I've ever seen. And also, if you want to meet with Tiara and her team, they actually run Real Virtual. Real Virtual will help you get your business started. They will help your business grow. They will help you do the work. They will help you come up with the ideas. So do a consultation with them. It is totally free. Real Virtual, REEL virtual.net, not .com.net. And yeah, team.
Actually, if someone comes through you today, we will do buy one. We can do a BOGO thing where it's buy 1 week, get 1 free.
Okay, so, there we go.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
There we go. Now. There we go. So you can get.
Just so you know, just if you want to come through, we can help.
I think I'm gonna come through because I need some help. So can I get the BOGO?
No, you can get the BOGO. Yes,
I want the BOGO. I don't want the FOMO from the BOGO because I can tell you it helps. Like because the thing is you end up having all these ideas. I have so many ideas. I came up with 2 or 3 ideas today, and I was like, gosh, I can't get them done. There's so much stuff I want to do. And so anyway, if anybody's in that same category, feel free to reach out to realvirtual.net. And she just stated this. I didn't know about the BOGO thing. I think that's kind of cool. And so feel free to reach out to them. They can help you figure it out. Don't do it all by yourself. So anyway, thank you so much, T. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And everybody who's watching, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. And last but not least, if you want to get some stuff from Dr. Alicia on relationships and money, she and I created something called the Love and Money Lab. You can actually just text the word love to 87948 and we can help you. So text the word love to 87948. Hit the thumbs up button on the way out. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.
Bye.